Okay, so welcome back. In this video, we'll talk about what are compiler errors and why they can happen. Now, programming language have very specific rules and you need to be sure how you write the code so the compiler can translate your code into machine language. These rules involve both structure meaning cut. These rules involve both structure and meaning to your code. For example, if a C++ code says for example, a C++ code says that all variable declaration must end with a semicolon, then they must end with a semicolon. If you don't add a semicolon at the end, and say you put it in middle or somewhere else, we'll have a syntax error. In first example, we didn't terminate our hello world with a double quote, and in second example, we left a semicolon missing. Now you can see both of these examples are syntax errors or something which is wrong with the structure of your code. Now syntax errors are very easy to fix. Semantic errors are little different in this case. Now you can see structure may be correct, but the meaning of your code should also make sense to the compiler. Like you can see in example, we are saying add A and B. Now this is a basic addition operator, but if it doesn't make sense to add A and B, the compiler will give you an semantic error. For example, we say add, say, a cat to an integer, and which doesn't make sense to add a cat to an integer, does it now? So the compiler will generate an error. Now remember, compilers are very picky because their job is to translate your code into machine code. So the machine carries out the function as you said. If the compiler has a problem understanding the meaning of the code, it won't guess, it will generate an error. So now we'll head over to CodeLite and see some of these errors in action. So now we are back in our CodeLite. We'll create a new project. Let's call this project as compiler errors. Now, this project will be created as our default template, which we created few videos back. So you can see it's basically our default template which we selected. Remember to double click to make it active. So let's remove, say, double quotation marks and try to build it. So you can see error pops up. It says missing double quotation character, and it's showing you where it's expecting a double quotation character. Now if you click it, it's just gonna show you where it needs a double quotation character. So it says double quotation character starts but it never ends, so you need to end it. Another thing we can do is we can remove this semicolon from the end line and then try to build it. And when we build it, it expects a semicolon before return. So it expects a semicolon before return. So before return, we can say right here, it expects a semicolon. Another thing you can do wrong is you're gonna say return Blackburn. So now what you are saying to your compiler is you are creating a main function which is an integer type main function, and you are not returning an integer, you are returning an string. So compiler is obviously not going to accept that, and when you build it, it's going to say it requires that invalid conversion from constant character to an integer. So basically it's saying it requires an integer to return. So if we do return 0, it should be fine. Let's build it. So it's fine. Another thing you can do wrong is, suppose you are typing real in a hurry and you do a double L. Now when you build the project, so error pops up which says end LL was not declared in the scope. So if you haven't been coding for quite some time now and you're just starting up, these codes can be really difficult to spot. Now if you this code is just a line long, so you can see it, but real codes are like thousands and thousands and thousands of lines long. So this type of error are usually hard to pick out, but if you do pick them out, you can just remove them. And that's basically our compiler errors. In next video, I'll tell you what are compiler warnings and what you should do when you find some. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.